Welcome to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, a show for women entrepreneurs who want to build, grow, and lead successful businesses and high-performing teams. I'm your host, Lindsay White, leadership coach and people strategy expert, here to bring you unplugged conversations with a variety of amazing guests who share expert advice and real actionable people strategies for your growing business. Ready to get unplugged? Let's jump in. Hey, welcome back to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I have someone really cool with me here today. I have Kendra Scurfield, and she works for Banff Sunshine, which is one of the best ski resorts in the entire world. It sits way high up in the Continental Divide in the heart of our Banff National Park, which I live about an hour from. And it is absolutely one of the most stunning places in the whole world. I feel really lucky that it is in my backyard. It's a world-renowned resort, 3,300 acres of ski hills and terrain. It is an all-season resort. Not only do we love it in the winter months when we can ski there, but it is beautiful hiking. It is absolutely pristine wilderness. It's amazing. And I'm super glad to have Kendra here with me today. Hi, Kendra.
Hi, Lindsay. Well, that's a very warm welcome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I've always felt, I'm a proud Canadian, but I've always felt really proud that I live near some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world. And Sunshine's a part of that. So, tell us a little bit about you. Like, what are you up to? You've got quite the background and the bio, Kendra.
Thank you. I'm Kendra Scurfield, the VP of Brand and Communications at Banff Sunshine Village. And I'm very fortunate to have grown up in Banff on the slopes of Sunshine. My parents worked at Sunshine, and Sunshine is a family owned and operated resort. And it is really our goal as an organization to have a resort that's worthy of its location in Banff National Park, which is Canada's oldest national park and the fourth oldest national park in the world.
I love it. Yeah, we're so lucky. Banff is just a jewel.
Mhm.
Really is. And how cool that Sunshine Resort is like in your DNA. I mean, that's super neat.
It really is. It's something that I'm very proud to be associated with. And my mission is to be able to share and communicate the wonders of winter fun and mountain fun for people of all abilities. A lot of the time, people think that you have to be good at something to enjoy it, that you have to be able to do black runs to day of skiing or snowboarding, but it's not the case. The sport of skiing, snowboarding, or even hiking is just about being outside in nature and enjoying the process.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And it's all abilities. It's I think one of the things that Sunshine's done so well is really made an effort to make skiing, especially the winter stuff, really accessible.
Mhm.
The hiking too. We have places where people can go with all abilities. And I love that because that's what we want. We want to bring the world to Canada. We want to bring the world to Banff National Park and to Sunshine. But you don't just do sunshine stuff. You do other things, Kendra.
I do other things. I my journey to where I am is kind of unconventional. After high school, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do
Right.
or be. So I went to film school, and there I learned about acting as well as writing. And I think writing is really where I came to life. And
Mhm.
it's the creative process of how you bring ideas to life, as well as the ability to act and bring the character to life. And in essence, that is what marketing is. Marketing
Yeah.
is storytelling.
Yeah.
And after film school, I decided I wanted to be a professional snowboarder. So I competed and traveled for a few years as a snowboarder before going to Gonzaga University for my undergraduate degree in business administration and public relations. After graduating, I came back to Canada, worked in public relations and marketing for a couple companies before once again landing at Sunshine. And back at Sunshine, I've really taken over the social marketing, the brand direction, retail. And on my side, I like to write children's books and poetry.
I love it. And you've written some great books, I think. Yes?
I've I currently have three books available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, as well as at Indigo. And they're under my name if you search them, as well as a couple more in the pipeline.
I love that. I love that. And what kind of books are they? Tell us about that.
So they are the ones that are currently available are children's books. The first one is called Something So Perfect, and it's about the journey of becoming a mother. Before I had my son, I did have a miscarriage, and I was scared I would never be able to have a child. And you just think the worst. You go down this spiral about feeling broken and that
Yeah,
you're not womanly or
of
something's wrong
course.
with you. And then when I got pregnant with him, it was magic. And I was a little bit definitely anxious throughout my period. I wanted everything perfect and I wanted maybe a little overzealous on some of my planning. In my dream world, I would have had a scheduled C-section, but apparently I wasn't a candidate for that. So
There you
apparently
go.
I can't just go and ask for one. But
Oh,
in my opinion, that is what I wanted. So
100%.
and when he came, it was the most magical experience. So Something So Perfect tells that story about the anticipation and how much love there is for a child even before you meet them, especially when it's something you've wanted for so long. The other one is called My Mom, and it is something I've learned from being a mom myself and the wanting to be perfect and to have perfectionism and realizing that he doesn't really give a shit if I'm dressed to the
Oh,
nines or if my cooking is top notch chef or what I do. All he cares is that I'm there with him and I'm present with him. And that's been a big life lesson for me is to let go of the small things and to really just enjoy him because that's what motherhood's about. And
yeah.
then my latest one is called Once Upon a Bedtime. And I'm sure a lot of moms and dads can relate, but bedtime is bedtime's fun in our household. We like to party. We are a bit of a night owl
Oh,
and
dear.
we have serious FOMO. So there are a million excuses
Right.
at bedtime. And it's the story of all the excuses until the mom is put to sleep and cuddles and tight.
Honestly, I love it. I think like, you know, I would tell you the majority of women that listen to this show are absolutely moms and can completely identify with the exhausting process of getting a small human into bed every night.
I don't understand how they can be so exhausted. And then as soon as you say bedtime, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We hitting the clubs tonight?
Yeah. Let's go clubbing, right? 100%. You're right. I mean, that they fight it tooth and nail every step.
I'm not tired.
Yeah. You can't see her, but she's like slapping herself in the face, which is hilarious because that is exactly what they do, right? They will find every single excuse, come up with every single reason why they should not go to bed. Top-notch negotiators. We should get these tiny humans working on contracts right
Right?
away. Yeah, multi-million dollar deals, because that's the kind of negotiators they are.
100% they are.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think, I think so many women can identify with this idea of the perfectionism in particular and how tricky that is to actually let go of, like to really do that self-examination and be able to step back and say, yeah, perfect actually isn't the point.
No, it isn't. And it really is just a hindrance in so many ways. I think my want to be perfect or to be as perfect as I'm capable of being has
Yeah.
actually gotten in my way and prevented me from doing and enjoying things in my past experiences.
100%. I'm glad you said that because I do think that that's true. We get so focused on the perfection that we actually like we lose the plot a little bit.
Too. And we miss the opportunity.
Yeah. And the connection. And I love
Yeah.
that you wrote a book about that you really needed to let go of your perfectionism in order to actually truly deeply connect with your kid.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so all of this cool stuff. professional athlete as a snowboarder, now VP with Sunshine Village, published author, mom. I mean, that is a lot of stuff, Kendra. How do you keep it all together?
I have a great team. So I have to admit that I work with some pretty incredible team members and I put trust in my team members. I think that we can't do everything alone and you can only do so much alone for so long until you burn yourself out and you lose enthusiasm. And I think that a lot of the times it's about fueling various passions and what feeds you. There's times in my life where I have fallen in and out of love with skiing or snowboarding, and those are two things that are very core to who I am as a human. But it's that process of fatigue and frustration and feeling stalled or plateauing. And I think sometimes you do need to be able to lean and rely on your team for that boost back of confidence when
Mm,
you can't always carry everything. And as a team, your team members know when to pick up the slack and when to help encourage you.
yeah, that's such a great point. And I think I mean, a lot of the women that listen to this podcast are small business owners. And I think we get this perception as an entrepreneur that somehow we have to be able to do it all by ourselves.
We do.
You have to do the heavy lifting. I mean, whether you're working I mean, Sunshine's been around for a long time, family run business, but still has decades of history,
Mhm.
or you've bootstrapped your own business and you're only a few years in. We feel like we have to do it all ourselves. And in fact, our team really can give us the lift.
100%. I think sometimes we feel that if we're not doing 100% of the work, how can we expect our team or
Right.
team doesn't really care as much as we do, but that's just a disservice. I read a stat recently that said your team members will never be as engaged as you are as the leader.
Right.
And while I find that there is truth in that, there are times I do believe when your team can be more engaged than you, and that you can give them moments to be the leader of various tasks, and you'll be leaning on them for that moment that you feel lost in your direction.
Yeah. I think you're right. And in fact, I think that we have to actually step back
We do.
and let them be leaders, right? Let them grow in their leadership capacity because that's really our first job as a leader is to grow other leaders. But you're right. Like in those moments when we have to step back, or actually when we consciously choose to step back, man, if you've got the right team doing the right things, they can really propel you forward.
They really can.
Yeah, I love that. Especially when you've got tiny humans to look after. Or maybe you're on the other side. Maybe you have aging parents, right? Like, there's lots of things that we have to do outside of our work, but you got the right team. They can step into the gap when you got to step out.
100%. And I think so much of us have this thought that life is only messy for us, or
Mm,
we have to be strong and stoic at all times. But in truth, we all go through so much, and there is so much mess in everyone's life.
yes.
And there's definitely times when there's more mess, like potty training,
Oh, Lord.
or less mess. And it's knowing the ebbs and flows and having that emotional intelligence
Yes.
to connect with your team and also be vulnerable with your team. There's a thought in business that I don't personally like, that you have to be emotionless and you can't let your
Oh,
emotions show. And I don't think that serves anyone. I
no.
think we are human. And of course, we are going to have emotion. If we don't let our emotions shine through, we're
Yeah.
never going to connect with our team members and they're never going to see us as real people who they want to follow.
Right. I was doing a session this morning with an organization, and this is the third of four deliveries of this particular workshop. And this group this morning was quite frontline, like very much in the factory. So these are leaders that are leading frontline activities and very male dominant. The other groups that we've done this session with have been more 50-50. This one was a little probably more like 70-30. And so I talked about the V word and I said, and I don't mean vagina, I mean vulnerability, but I might as well say vagina because we feel more comfortable saying that word in the workplace than we do talking about vulnerability. And the F word, feelings, right?
Scary.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, what feelings? I don't have feelings. There's no feelings here. I'm not allowed to have feelings. And, I say it to make people laugh and engage with it. And it's a little shocking, right? Like, I mean, I use some words that people are like, oh my God, is she going to drop an F sharp in the middle of this business workshop? Like, what's going on? But in all reality, that's the reaction is like vulnerability is like saying something taboo.
Oh,
Using the word feelings is like using the F word,
oh,
right?
yes.
I just find it so funny,
But it's a myth that we're doing ourselves a disservice, and it is a myth that we do not have feelings.
right?
I've worked with so many people of both sexes who think that they can hide their emotions
Yeah.
and they put on a stoic face as they walk into the office, but they're projecting this do not
Oh,
enter
yes.
vibe, and it's
Yes.
an aura of I don't want to be here
Yeah.
or talk to you. And
Yeah.
sometimes those that are maybe more emotionally intuitive feel like, oh God, what have I done wrong? Or there's
Yes.
all these questions and confusion,
Yeah.
and you just hit a wall. But to the people who think that there is no emotion at work,
You're
you're
kidding yourself.
you're kidding yourself. And
Yeah.
everyone else can read your emotions.
100%. We are whole humans. We don't hang up who we are at home when we get to the office. Or if
No,
you're like me, you work at home, right? There's literally French doors separating work and business for me. And for so
you
many of us,
you
right?
change people, right? Obviously, you're
Yeah, when I walk through that doorway, magically I become someone different. Of course not. Of course not. And if we are a business leader in our own business or inside of a larger organization, we cannot expect that people are going to show up and magically become someone different when they step into our place of work. It
no,
just isn't logical. Yeah, doesn't make sense.
it doesn't at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I really love this, Kendra, because I think that's what creates a great team too, is being able to show up as yourself as a lead and lead authentically.
True, true. And I think that you have to, you can't be somebody else.
No.
You can be yourself, and that
Yeah.
is good enough.
Yeah.
Even if you are messy, even if you have a lot of flaws
Yeah.
that you wish you didn't. But the more vulnerable I've been with my team, the more that they connect and respond back to me. So the work productivity is a lot stronger when we're all are real, authentic people.
Yeah. Yeah. And
As
I
is protection.
100%. And I would suggest it's because they feel safe. They feel like you know and look after and are looking out for them and vice versa. They're looking out
Mhm.
for you.
And that's what it should be. That's what relationships are.
And let's be honest, doesn't matter if we're at work or at home, we're on the ski hill, we're out in our community on a nonprofit board. It's all relationships. They
It
just
is
look different.
100% they look different.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think you're right. Like we really have to consider that we are in a relationship with these people that work for us or work with us. Yeah, it's not a romantic relationship. Well, not necessarily. Yeah. If it is, that's something you need to talk to someone about. But it is a relationship. I mean, we are human beings, and that's how we work is relational.
And I think when we have these relationships and we treat it as a relationship, then we're also a lot more honest about our goal setting and our
Yeah.
KPIs. So if we're sitting down and I'll sit down with my retail director and say, okay, these are these are our goals. They're not my goals. They're
Yeah.
not the organization's goals. What do we think is achievable as our bite-sized goals? And what do we want to be our big, hairy, audacious goal? Because the two are different.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I believe that we need the small stepping stone goals that almost seem meaningless in achievement because they're not meaningless. They're showing the progress
Yeah.
and the effort and the work it takes to actually get where you are. After all, you can't eat an elephant in one go.
It's true, right? Eat that elephant one bite at a time. But I mean, I think that's really well articulated. Like, we can have those stepping stone goals, right? So that we can really feel the progress and we build momentum.
Mhm.
So we accomplish one and then we get the second one under our belt. And then, wow, we're really feeling the energy of that. We're
The
feeling
third
the
one goes
stress.
by like that.
Right? And then we gotta have the big, hairy, audacious ones because we gotta have something to stretch and reach for,
Right.
right? Like that's good stress. That feeling that there's energy and passion that's going into achieving something that feels like you really have to reach it.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really appreciate that because I think we don't consider how important our relationship is with our team when we think about how are we collectively setting those goals so that ultimately the whole business is successful. I mean, that's why we do that stuff.
As a driver in my past life, I would have these goals and I wouldn't actually do attainable goals. I would have my big, hairy, audacious goal, and then I would want to do it alone because that's what I thought you had to do. And when
Right.
I got there, I would always feel this sense of depression or it was anticlimactic. There were no trumpets, there was no confetti blowing, and it was like, okay, what next?
Yeah.
And through reframing how I set goals with my team and the vulnerability piece, I'm learning that a small goal for me might also be a big goal for someone else, or a big goal for me might actually be a really small goal for someone else on my team. And it's the sharing of the knowledge that puts us all on the same page to actually believe that we can do better.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. And I think, being able to create something together, knowing that what you're working on is linked not just to what is going to move your big objective or your big goal forward, but how we're linked together in that,
Mhm.
right? How we can collectively accomplish things and build. That I think to me that's always really powerful, right? And I respect what you're saying. And I think for so many of us, again, particularly as female founders, that is certainly clear to me in the work that I do with female business leaders, is that we're all very driven, we're very focused, we're very passionate. And what it inevitably happens is exactly what you've said. We feel like we have to accomplish those goals alone, and then we don't actually stop to really celebrate and appreciate because there's nobody to do it with.
Mm-mm.
It's just get back to work. There's more to achieve. And we actually don't get to enjoy the climb.
No,
Well, that's ridiculous. Why wouldn't we celebrate that? But there's nobody, there really is, there's no one to really celebrate that with.
there isn't. And life is the climb.
Yeah,
That's where we spend
exactly.
most of our time.
100%. Yeah, and I do. I think this is where, I mean, this is a lot of the work that I do is helping business owners really build those beautiful cultures, those beautiful teams, and their own leadership style. And this is absolutely a part of that. How do you want to celebrate? How do you want to create trust and safety to build together? I love it, Kendra. I'm sold. I
Thank
want to
you,
be on
Lindsay.
I want to be on Kendra's team. Um, I would love to hear. I mean, I know, sunshine is an all-season um, playground, but truly it comes to life when the snow falls, right?
It really does. Yes.
And so there's ins and outs, I'm sure, with the team it overall. The business expands and contracts, right? Depending on the season. How do you lead through that? Because that's a different business cycle
It
than
is.
most.
It is. So we have our major balloon moment is this time of year. Our major balloon moment is in November. I don't
Yeah,
know what this is, so sorry if I dated it.
that's okay.
And we will go from essentially 200 year-round team members up to 800 team members.
Right.
And we are fully staffed through the winter months, really December, January, February, March. March is traditionally the best month to ski in the Canadian Rockies. And
Yeah.
then we kind of will go down that bell curve
Yeah.
until most of our team members will go and do their summer jobs or go traveling while we are closed for the 1 month in between. And then in summer, we do grow a little bit again, but it's not to the same degree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a very different cycle than a lot of, I mean, lots of businesses will staff up, if it's retail in particular for the Christmas season, certainly starting in November, knowing the Black Friday. But then by January, February, a lot of those people are actually exiting, whereas your business is going gangbusters.
Yeah, we're about a 7 month marathon for
Yeah.
our entry level first time employees, who many of which are coming for a season and a gap year to
Yeah.
have once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, 100%. Because in your business, I know that you hire a lot of people that come to Canada specifically to work in the Rockies, right? Lots of Australians, lots of Kiwis. I know there's always but lots of people from all over the world. Yes?
From all over the world. And we've been very fortunate at Sunshine. As I mentioned earlier, it is our goal to develop and to operate a resort worthy of its location
Yeah.
in Canada's oldest national park. And so we've invested back into our resort. This winter, we are opening our brand new Super Angel Luxury Express, which is a high speed 6 passenger heated bubble lift that replaces the original Angel that was well, not original Angel, the second Angel that was built in 1988 and was the first high speed quad in the Canadian Rockies. So this winter, we will have two heated chairlifts that are running. And as a result of much of our online presence, our branding and communications, as well as the incredible experience and service our mountain operation team brings to life each day, we've are going into winter with a lot more accolades. So we are the Condé Nast third best resort in the world,
Love it.
which was absolutely, I mean, I'm still speechless. I don't have the words to articulate what that made us feel. We won the number one overall resort satisfaction for Ski Magazine's reader poll,
Wow.
and we are the Reader Choice Award for Calgary and Edmonton for, I think, 12 years running.
Wow.
So as a company and an organization, each fall we'll host a leadership conference, which is a 2 day conference for 150 of our leaders, from
Yeah.
first time assistant supervisors all the way up to our senior executive team. And we'll bring in speakers who talk about various topics, whether it's psychological safety or gold mind a gold medal mindset,
Mm.
or how to be your authentic leader and
Yeah.
define your leadership style. And we'll give them these tools. Of course, not everything is going to resonate, but our hope is that we provide a mini Sunshine You that they can go and think about how they want to show up, not just for themselves, but for their teams and the organization as a whole.
I love that. I mean, the investment there is remarkable. And you have to invest in your leaders.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they are the ones that are going to make your business win awards. They're going to bring your team together. They're going to make sure that every person on that ski hill feels amazing.
100%. And a lot of the times in a service-based industry like ours, or in a hospitality-based industry, many of the leaders started as frontline team members and they've
Yeah.
been promoted up and up and up to where they are. And I know, as a doer, and that is my personality, sometimes the transition from being the doer that gets the job done
Yeah.
to the leader can be quite hard because as a leader, my job isn't to do everything,
Yeah.
it's to be a resource to make sure that the strategy and the plans do get
Yeah.
actioned, but to make sure that my team members have the tools to do what they need to do.
I'm glad you highlighted that because that is a real tricky spot.
Hmm.
And a lot of leaders in a lot of organizations get caught there.
They
I,
do.
yeah, I'm an expert at what I do, and I'm ready for the next step, so I get promoted to a leadership role. But now I may feel uncomfortable, right? Even if I work at Sunshine and I get great leadership training, I still feel a little bit uncertain. It's a big change. It's a big accountability. I feel very responsible and maybe not as confident, especially at first. So, what do? I default to going back to what I do best, which is doing the thing. But actually, that's the opposite of what I need to do.
Yeah, and you dive in there and you want to micromanage, and
Yeah.
it's scary because you also have to be okay to take, if you're the specialist who was promoted,
Uh,
of course, as the person who has filled your shoes gets into it and learns the rope, you're going to see a natural decline before you see that improvement. And
yeah.
chances are it will end up being better than where you were. But it's scary feeling like you don't know what you're doing, or that you have imposter syndrome, or
Yeah.
you're no longer valued for what you did.
Yeah. 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 And I think we do feel, I mean, again, especially those of us that are high performing women, we feel a lot of pressure to not screw it up, right? We have high expectations of ourselves. We know that people around us want us to perform, and we feel that. That's where some of that, you called it imposter syndrome. It certainly is that head trash,
Yeah.
right? That saboteur conversation that tells us we're going to screw it up. Don't screw it up. You can't screw it up. People are going to hate you if you screw like, right? It really rattles around in our head.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bouncy
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, it's an echo chamber up there, right?
Yeah.
So it just bounces and bounces and bounces. But I think, knowing that the investment in your leader, in your leadership, in your own leadership is important. Investing in the leaders in your organization, that is really critical to making sure that your organization really does achieve incredible things. And, Sunshine clearly does a really amazing job of that.
Thank you, Lindsay. I
Yeah.
think something that has helped me as I transitioned into more leadership positions is reframing it. And as the ball bounces and I want to catch the work and do the work,
Mhm.
I am I am the coach. I am there to catch the ball. If somebody needs a helping hand or is overwhelmed and I can do the work, I can step in, give them the respite for a minute, help them work through the challenge that they're facing, and then put them back into play.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what we do when we can support them like that is we build their resilience.
Mhm.
We build their leadership skills, right? Yes, I can help you, but let's get you back in the game. Like I love the metaphor in that, right? Because if we fix it, we are doing them a disservice. They're not learning, they're not
No,
growing. They're just getting rescued. And actually, that's disempowering. When we step in and rescue them, we make them the victim.
we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that. That doesn't get anybody further ahead.
And we don't want to be Google or whatever the equivalent of our organization is for all the answers forever.
No, no, again, because the idea is that our first job is to grow other leaders,
Mhm.
grow them. If we just give them all the answers and give them all the help, we don't give them the opportunity to learn. Oh, Kendra, I really love this conversation. I also, I mean, I just want to say congratulations on the awards and the recognition.
Thank
Again,
you.
it's almost like I'm running a commercial for Sunshine here on the podcast today. It's pretty, pretty sad, actually. No, but I love it. I love that, our ski hill here in our national park that we love so much in this part of the world is a space where everybody should come and visit at least once in their life. And if you are listening and you love winter sports, you love summer stuff too, but if you love winter sports, Sunshine is the place to come.
Even
Uh,
if you don't love winter sports,
Even if you don't want to love winter sports.
you can just get yourself acquainted with snow. Come ride
100%.
the gondola, see the sights.
Yes. Thank you
And
for
there is terrain for at Sunshine, we're really unique because there is terrain for beginner, intermediates, advanced,
yeah.
experts, and of course the super experts. And we see people as young as 2 skiing and as old as 98.
Totally. Hey, listen, and if you're not really into skiing, you can always après ski at any time. You don't actually have to ski to après ski. That just to
It
be
doesn't have to
clear,
be 5 p.m. to après ski.
100%. There's always Bailey's to go in the hot chocolate, friends. Kendra, I could talk to you all afternoon. Thank you. I'm so grateful for this conversation and the opportunity. You shared some absolutely incredible stuff here about leadership, culture, and team building today. And I'm super grateful you did that with us.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. It was a pleasure talking with you as well.
Absolutely. And we're going to put into the show notes how you can find Sunshine and become acquainted with this incredible ski hill. So you can check out some of the stuff that we
You
have been
can
talking about.
find Sunshine on LinkedIn at
Yeah,
Sunshine Village Ski and Snowboard Resort. You can find me on LinkedIn at Kendra Scurfield or on Instagram and Facebook at Sunshine Village. And then you can find me on Instagram at Kendra Sonia.
love it. You got to check out some of these pictures. You're going to be blown away. If you do not know what it looks like in the Canadian Rockies, it like just get on Instagram, take a look at some of these pictures, it's going to blow your socks off.
The Mother Mountains don't got nothing on us.
No, they don't. I love it. I
Yep.
love it. Thank you so much, Kendra.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. I feel so lucky that I get to connect with such amazing female entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed today's session, would you do me a big favor? Would you hit subscribe and give this episode a 5-star review? I'd also love it if you would share with your friends. We've got a goal here at the Female Founder Unplugged podcast to impact 1,000 female founders. And with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca. We'll see you next week.